So, the other day, I was going to my gym because I'm jacked. Like, I was all get out, as you can see. Like, I have to get custom fitted. That's expensive. But I'm jacked. You just can't see it because the custom fitting hides it, like, really well. But I'm going.
I thought custom fit was supposed to make you look jacked, not hide it. But keep going.
Well, I will. So, I'm on my way, and I'm inside my gym, and I look over, and they've got this, how do you say, like, senior citizen yoga class. And I was like, well, what's this about,
Great class, by the way.
Really? Well, listen, I learned something about myself, It's like I dared to be courageous because I'm 21 and they're in better shape than I am.
It's where I learned to do the splits. You've never seen me do them.
Really?
Only when I'm with Melania.
Melania's great. That's awesome. How much plastic is she? Like, really? No disrespect.
Next question.
All right.
Next question.
No,
Very
fair enough,
disrespectful,
fair
to be
enough.
honest.
So I start the class, and they're like, okay, bunny hop, bunny hop. And then they do this weird thing where you get weights above your head like this, and you do it deep. It's called a deep squat, Trump, okay? And as I begin to squat, something really weird happened.
Tell me about it. Tell me all about it.
These muscles in my buttocks, they snapped. They went ka-king, ka-king. Like in that order.
Huge.
Well, I've got pretty good buttocks. They're not, I want to say huge. I don't want to be.
I was talking about myself. Sorry. Go on with your
You've got dump truck. I did see you working in the dumpster. Well, that's great.
I'm making the midnight.
I'm making the midnight. Bro, Shane Gillis, comedians, man. It's a different era. But we're going back to you driving, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to cut out so much in this stupid podcast. So you're driving.
I'm driving.
You've got maybe a soda.
Yep.
Maybe full green apple. Monster in a water. Kirkland to balance it out.
Kirkland.
You're driving up here. When did you leave? When did you leave this trip?
This trip I left at 2:30.
Where did you go wrong?
Leaving.
Okay. Where did you go wrong? It should have taken 6 hours, right?
So 6 hours is my normal trip here. It's 5.5 hours by GPS. I assume two stops worth of 15 minutes each. Sometimes if I'm pretty tired, I'll have a couple extra stops to just help rejuvenate myself. Sometimes I do a 15-minute power nap if really necessary, or if not, I just need to get out and walk a little bit more often. But a couple of those stops could be 5 minutes or less. So 6.5 max, right? So I should have gotten here at 8:30, 9 o'clock by the latest.
But that wasn't the case.
So what happened? Well, first of all, I got out of work early so that I could avoid the work traffic. And for some reason, there was still work traffic. Wasn't as bad.
What's work traffic like in Bremerton?
So
Like for here, we have a pocket. You get on that freeway. It's a pocket. It's literally 30 seconds congested. You get out of that 30 seconds, you're done. You're home free. Like, it's really a stretch, and you could just go. That's it.
So in Bremerton, it's a whole different dynamic because of the shipyard. And when you have thousands of people getting off work within a 30-minute to an hour period, you have multiple thousands of people that are all headed out in different directions.
Ooh.
And there's a lot of people that park on base. There's a lot of people that park near the base, downtown, in parking garages, this and that, right? So you have all these people getting off at a very similar time, coming out, driving their cars out. Now, if I'm going home in Bremerton, I live 15 minutes away. It takes me about 15 minutes to get home. The traffic isn't too bad. It's a little annoying. You can't weave cars much. There is traffic on both sides, but it's not terrible if I'm just going home.
Sounds like you should just like ride the unicycle or something.
Sometimes
of traffic.
I want to. But yeah, going home, it isn't too bad from work. It might take me a few extra minutes than normal. It's going the opposite way, which that's normally like Port Orchard is where people live. A lot of people, Port Orchard and Belfair, people that work there that go that way. But for me leaving to come out here, right, it would be I'm headed towards Tacoma, and you have to go towards Port Orchard to get to Tacoma. So yeah, there's no really way around that. So when I was headed out there, normally that area is very congested, very, very congested. And there's probably a couple miles a stretch or so that are just very backed up. Some people that normally that drive should take by GPS 20 minutes or something, it'll take them an hour.
Wow.
So
for people watching, they've never been to Bremerton. What's like the heart? I kind of know, but what's the heart of Bremerton as far as like what work goes? What's popular there? What is the thing of Bremerton?
Bremerton.
Bremerton. Okay, I'll get this right here. Ready? Say it.
Bremerton.
Bremer. Brimmerton. Right?
No. Bremerton. Bremerton.
Bremerton.
Yeah, but just Bremerton.
Bremerton.
So, I would say Bremerton primarily runs off of the naval shipyard that's there.
Big.
You got, 15,000 employees. You're employing like half of Bremerton.
Wow.
Not literally half, but it's, I would say it's for sure a third.
It's kind of an island, right? Like it's peninsula or something, whatever you'd call it.
I don't know if you would call it a peninsula. It's not an island, but it could be seen as one because there's kind of water.
I mean, it's close
coming
to being
all around it. So, yeah, you could call it close.
You just cut off
enough.
a certain part, and it's gonna be an
pretty
island.
much.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, back to the trip. I was looking at GPS, and GPS said 5.5 hours. But snow was coming down in the mountain pass. How long does it take to get there? A few hours. How long does it take to get Spokane after there? A few hours.
Let me do something real quick. Forgot to do that at the very beginning. It's syncing the audio.
Yeah.
Because that's how it all syncs.
Right.
Audio. Okay.
Right.
As you were.
Yep. So basically, what happens is a few hours to the mountain pass, and then after I get through the mountains, a couple hours or a couple and a half, or however that works exactly. But when I was headed out, there was traffic everywhere. So going to Port Orchard, traffic. And then I hit a little spot where I went, and then between there and Tacoma, traffic. In Tacoma, traffic. Throughout like Seattle, and then heading towards Bellevue, traffic.
Was there like a gay fest or something?
Bro, I don't know what was going on.
Yet.
But just traffic everywhere.
Bro, pre-gay is bad. That's beyond bad.
Terrible. It's terrible.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're going through Seattle.
You know.
And what is? I mean, it's winter right now, so it's drastically different. But on a summer, weekend, you come to travel here. What does the landscape look like? Does it stay the same forever? Is it constantly changing? Is there? I remember driving through one part, and it was like you're going through New Mexico. Like I saw some cactus, but you're in like the Grand Canyons almost. And it's insane. You're like, where's the horse and buggy? I know it's around the corner. Like, that's what you felt like.
Yeah.
And then you'd see fields, and then you'd see, et cetera.
Yeah, so honestly, I love the drive for the first, headed from home to here. I love the drive for the first 2 to 3 hours. I forget exactly the length. But that's when, like where I'm at, bro, I see mountains all the time. Like the mountains are all around. And so when I'm headed out, right, headed out towards Tacoma, you see Mount Rainier, pretty big. I mean, I only live like an hour and a half or two from Mount Rainier National Park. So that could be like a little weekend trip for me. But anyways,
That's so cool. We
you
gotta
see
go.
you see Mount Rainier, and you drive through like Tacoma, Seattle ère, but then you get out and you just see so much trees and hills and beauty. And the mountain passes, Snoqualmie Pass, normally I go through. It's amazing going through there and seeing the lows and the highs, and and then many times even in decent weather, you'll have some type of snow up there. Usually the roads are always super cool, except for like this time of winter, right? You have snow plows that constantly go plow. But you have times like where when I was headed here, right, I'm a couple hours into my trip, I'm in Bellevue area, and all of a sudden I check, and I'm checking multiple times on the way, and it went from, you know, nothing required to traction tires advised, then it went to traction tires required, then it went to pass shutdown for eastbound traffic.
Double-sided tape on the tires.
So
Traction.
it's just a no-no.
Yeah.
You don't, the pass is closed right now if you want to travel east. And
Wow. So what's the loophole?
and a few hours later, you know, it'll possibly be reopened, but you don't know for sure
Who controls that?
Washington
Some
State
little permit. Like, I don't know
Patrol.
these people.
Either State Patrol
Yeah.
or it's not National Park. It would be like State Patrol, I think. Something like
Okay.
that. So they would decide, yeah, this is too bad. We're going to close this temporarily. And then you would get snowplows eventually that would come through, and they would decide, yep, this is safe enough for us to reopen. They reopen. I literally checked the next day after I got here, and it was reopened. So it's not like it's going to close for a few days or anything, or they're going to wait for the weather to just magically
They're really
change.
watching, keeping a pulse on it.
They keep plows and stuff going on those roads.
I love the Northwest. I've
beautiful.
gone to the point where I've traveled enough to see enough. You travel a lot. You're one of the most like traveling people I know, if that's a way to say it. You got a lot of friends in the South.
Yes.
Got a lot of connections down there in South Carolina, Mississippi, and all that. What do you see or let me say that better. What are some of the things that you see differently from the South to the North? I mean, and there's a lot to go there, but as far as landscape goes and then culture goes.
Landscape, I mean, the North, specifically Northwest, right? Pacific Northwest, the PNW, what everyone
Upper
knows
left.
us for. It's just, there's so much more trees, mountains, views, like anywhere that you drive.
Right.
I know people that have only come to Spokane for Summit Conference, and they've come and been like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Spokane is the only spot that they've seen. They didn't go sightseeing, but just seeing Spokane and Liberty Lake and Spokane Valley and stuff, they're like, dude, Washington is beautiful. And I'm like,
Till you look at the politics.
You've barely even seen Washington.
Yeah.
So that's
Bro, Spokane is like, it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles giving you a tour of New York City. That's not it. You haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is people come down here, like I said, they see just Spokane, and they're like, wow, Washington is beautiful. And I'm like, come over to like Western Washington, like where I am, right? Come to,
Keep looking here and keep talking as
yeah,
I'm here.
you got Seattle, and you have Tacoma, you have cities, right? But there's so much mountains and amazing things to see on that side. And so that's the thing is when it comes to like the South, people don't go, oh dude, yeah, man, I went to Mississippi and it was beautiful down there. I've never heard anyone say that. Never. Man, the cornfields, dude. Oh, beautiful. It just doesn't happen. Tennessee, you got the Smoky Mountains. People love that. But even that, I would not say compares to the beauty that I see in Washington and Oregon, California. That's not part of us. Leave them out. Idaho, yeah. It doesn't compare at all. So,
Clap thing.
okay.
Okay. So we were talking about the weather. And then what did you say about California again?
I said we don't accept them. They're not
We don't
part of
accept
us.
them. We do
That's
not accept
a whole
California.
different area.
We don't accept California. There's a whole lot to say about that.
California might be Western Washington. What? Western United States. But it's not part of the PNW.
Mm-mm. No.
I don't think anyone sees it.
Who do
as
we
that,
accept?
But
Washington, Idaho, Montana, a little bit of Oregon.
Oregon. Yeah, Oregon for sure, yeah.
That's it.
I didn't even know Montana.
Yeah. I've gone to Montana.
I don't know nobody from Montana.
I know Montana. I know a guy from Montana.
Might meet one tonight.
Okay, so culture, man. Listen, I grew up really in this area, and I never got out until recently. I never went too many places, but our mutual friend Devin is really my connection to the South. And when I met him in COVID in 2020, I went down there for a conference in COVID era in June, and it's kind of a culture shock. Like, there's some things are different.
Tell me about it.
There's some things are different, man. Oh my gosh, where do I start? Some things are nice. Yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. I mean, we can somewhat take that for a given, being in church. But yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. You know, that's just a more common thing. I didn't really know where to place that at first. I kind of started overusing it. The guy was like, "Hey, are you sitting in there?" I was like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Dude, I'm 12." It's like, my bad. I just didn't want to step out of line here. I don't know. I think this is something that stuck with me. The first youth trip, bro, it was brutal. We drove 12 hours. We went to bed at 1.
Yep.
Got up at 3. Was at the church at 4.
Nice.
Started driving.
Sick.
So our first stop is like 5:30. I don't know. We're zombies. I don't know any of these people except for Devin.
Yeah.
I'm just meeting his youth group.
Oh, you're traveling with his...
Yeah, I'm traveling with their van.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know these people. I'm like just making friends as I go. You know, hoping I'm all right. And yeah, and I wasn't even with Devin all the time, so I just be with random kids like, "Sup, I'm here. Let's do this thing." But this one guy, he was older. You know, it wasn't youth as in like 13, 17. No, it was like he was our age, 17 to like 25.
Yeah.
Great group of people. This guy had kind of cut in front of me at the gas station, and I was like, okay. But he went and paid for my drink.
Wow.
For my energy drink. I didn't even know his name. And I was like, dude, thank you so much. Like, appreciate that. I'm Herbert. And I think he's too tired. I couldn't even hear his name, but he did that for me. And I think that's this a good little insight that I got of some of the principles and maybe the core of the South. Like, there's a respect there it's still in the young people, it's still in the elderly, it's just there. And that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
I think the main differences I saw was, and we don't have to go like too far into this, but the main differences I saw was, I think, church culture. I had really never been, besides Peak, to any other church conference, church event. That was my first one. going to that one. I went with Devin.
Yeah.
And it was really cool.
Yep.
It was really cool. It was really different as far as like the programs go. More things to do on maybe some of the athletic side, and it was great. It was fun, but there's a difference. There's a difference in culture.
Yeah. I think to say a little bit about culture difference, people so often talk about like, well, in the South, it's Southern hospitality. In the North, people are just rude. And it's so much deeper than that. Because you go down South and you'll have, speaking non-church, right? Just generalization. So this could include church people and non-church people. You'll have, a group of Southern guys that could give less of a care in the world on who you are. And in fact, you have people that'll comment on these YouTube videos and be like, oh, these people don't have anything better to do. Oh, these people don't have jobs. And many times it's those people that look like some scrawny YouTube, TikTok personality.
Podcast.
But then you have a lot of Southern people, and I'm not saying that no one from the North does this. Like, I know people from California who absolutely would do this. But I know in the South, it's so often, like, you got guys that's like, oh, let's go knock down trash cans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's go do this. Let's go cut up in Walmart. And that's just the normal thing. And so I'm like, people just being good people does not come with the South. People being rude does not come with the North. If you go to a coffee shop, here's the other thing. There's certain places that you're going to go, or maybe someone's having a bad day where it's not going to be like this. But in a generalization, I be at a coffee shop in the South, and most of the people I haven't got a overwhelmingly friendly response from. Coffee shops in the South. Coffee shops in the North and in the Northwest, people are very friendly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coffee's also a big thing.
Coffee's a big deal.
Here.
That
we
attracts a
got
certain kind of people.
the first Starbucks in Seattle, right? And we have so many more coffee shops also than in a lot of southern states. But that's just one thing that, like, here I notice, like, big hospitality when it comes to just coffee shops is one little category.
Yeah.
But people just say, oh, people are rude here and people are nice down there. And it's so much bigger than that. My culture differences that I see is, like, down there, guys at the age of 16 are doing, like, laborious jobs, driving a truck, getting stuff done.
Construction.
Here, you got guys at 18, just graduated high school, possibly have a part-time job that they started either in retail or very commonly in food.
Yeah.
If they don't know someone who has a business that they're working under.
Yeah.
And so many times it's the case that just after they turn 18, then they try to start in a trade. Then they try to start in something like that. But it's not near as easy as
they're not as aggressive.
Every other person's dad owns a business.
Right. Yeah. It's not as aggressive. I feel like you look at the guys in the South and they're aggressive with their work ethic.
Yeah.
Like, they're aggressive 6 days a week, putting in their hours.
18-hour days. I got a piece of hay stuck in my teeth here. And
they're proud of it, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, be proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that.
Yeah.
Glad to see that.
But then I feel like the bad part of that is you have guys that are so enveloped with that if they could make more money at a desk job, they could never, because he works a desk job.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
And I'm like, bro,
let's talk about that.
You could have an opportunity. I'm not saying, like, you can have a landscaping business and be a multimillionaire from it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could have a position where you could have gone a lot further than you did. But it's like,
why is that a predominant thing? Really? I really feel like they would, it's a kind of it's a masculine mindset
Yeah.
in the South, you have to have a rugged job.
Yeah.
And I respect anybody who has it.
100%.
We've done it from time, like, I know in our personal lives, we've had that kind of job
Yep.
at some point. And so respect it. But I don't think it's a good principle at any time to say, I will never allow myself to get out of, I will never allow myself to grow or make more money if it pushes on my ego.
Well, I hate also that it's somewhat talked about, this is what defines me as a man. I'm like, well, you obviously haven't found anything deeper that really defines you as a man.
Right. If you're gonna put your
trust
it's just your
work,
in your career,
your work, and the fact that you drive a truck and wear boots.
Well, those are visual things.
Those are great things.
Those are fun. Those are fine.
I love trucks. I love boots.
Yep.
And I'll get my hands dirty.
Yep.
But if that's all that kind of defines what a man is to you, then you got someone over here and he's like, that's not really for me. And they're like, you'll have guys that'll be like, so you're just saying that because you can't handle, you're not tough enough. And it's like, no, someone just wants to find something that they're passionate about. There's a lot of guys that also hate their jobs. And I'm not saying that you're not going to go through, especially someone young trying to be successful. One of the best things that I could say, even though I have not gotten to that point yet where I'm, this wild success, but I've heard so much and talked to so many people that I know that you're going to have a certain part of your life where you're putting money away, you're putting time away, you're doing this and you're doing that. And in that moment, what you're doing, whether it's working with your hands, whether it's working, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, whether it's with your hands, whether half of it is on a computer or all of it is on a computer, part of it is going to suck. It's how it goes. It's going to be rough. You're going to have to break through. You're going to have to fight through. But I don't believe that has to be who you forever are, is just doing the rough thing,
I want to talk about a couple things on the subject. I like this subject that we're turning on to. I have to write things down because I'll forget it.
Yep.
It's ADHD. Just got to write it down. I feel like, or from what I can, slowly getting closer. From what I can observe, on that mindset of a man having an ego and this is my career, this is what makes me a man. When I think of an example of, we can clearly see that's a good man, what jumped out in my head was Uriah in King David. Uriah, his career was a soldier and a killer.
Yeah.
But we don't respect Uriah because he killed Philistines and he killed opposing nations.
Yeah.
Like, we don't say Uriah was a man because he was at the front lines, he was a soldier. We don't say that. King David called him home and was like, hey, you can stay at your place. After he let him eat with him, so he's already eating better, I think, than his buddies.
Yeah.
But hey, you can go home to your wife.
Yeah.
Like, as a king, I'm letting you do that. You can go home to your wife. He said no. He slept outside on the floor because if my brothers can't have this, I'm not going to have it. So that's his character.
Yeah.
His character is speaking there. That's where I believe we can judge a person by if they're a man. So we're young men.
Yeah.
People can judge you for a lot of things. I think as men, there are some inherent things that I think are perfectly fine with being quote unquote judged. And really I think the better word is like assessed. You're going to assess where you're at. Because if you're at this age, it's perfectly reasonable for you to be doing these things. If you're at this age, if you're maybe younger, it doesn't make sense for you to have these other things. I can't judge you for that, right? But it doesn't matter if you're 16 or 32, you can still have the same character. A 16-year-old can have the character of really what a 32-year-old should be possessing, but not have he's not a lawyer. It doesn't matter. He has a character. Character can get you further than a career. I feel like there's a mindset with guys who are phenomenal at putting in their hours, are phenomenal at putting the effort and energy in. But I think about it like you just, you know, the RPMs, and you see it from 0, and it goes, and it's like, well, look, I'm putting in the work, the energy, the time, and it's a masculine job. You know, it's landscaping, whatever. It's perfectly fine, and the RPMs are coming up, but the car is still in park. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You haven't moved down the line in life. It's like you can make $18 an hour and get your overtime. Dude, get your overtime. But you getting your, let's say it's $18 an hour and you're working more than 45 hours a week and you're getting in your overtime, that's awesome. But doing that for 15 years and getting that RPM up is not getting the needle. It's not moving. It's not getting the car moving.
Well, to
You're
talk
still in
about
park.
that, there's people that's what their whole life is based upon, is how hard can I do the thing that I know how to do?
I know. Because it's scary to breach out to new knowledge.
Yeah, it's very scary to breach out into the unknown. And the uncomfortable is a place that I tell people all the time. This is something that I always say, is if you want, speaking of a relationship with God, if you want to get close to God, you're going to have to get uncomfortable.
100%.
With your time, with your effort, with how you how you worship, how you pray, your study, your time, your money even. And so translate that, it works the same way going into the side of creating a business, becoming an entrepreneur, starting a side hustle, trying to gain a certain position at a company, right? You're going to have to get uncomfortable if you really want to be successful. And it just depends on how bad do you want it.
Yeah.
And a great thought, quote, whatever you want to call it, that I've heard from so many people before is the pain of regret is so much more than the pain that you'll have to endure on the way to what you want.
Yeah, that's true.
You can look back in 15 years and go,
you know, that's a part of hell.
Yeah.
That's something that my uncle helped me to understand, is like part of what makes hell is that if you were saved and you walked away from it and you lived your own life and then you die and you wind up in hell, you're at hell. You get to reflect on you were there and you walked away from it, and that is the best form of torture from the devil. And to yourself is like, dude, I was there.
Yeah.
And you knew. For people who are ignorant, who never knew, that's one thing. But for someone who did know, grew up in it, helped with it, or just, it doesn't matter if you got one Bible study. If you got it, that Bible opened up to you, or whether you were born in it or whatever, you will live with that.
Yeah.
Forever. I think what makes us unique right now is that we're young guys. We're 19 and we're 21. And we're at that point where we're working
You
jobs.
19?
Huh?
You 19?
Are you 20 now? When did you... Wait, hold on.
20 and 21.
Hold on. Your birthday is...
November.
Shoot. Wait, what did you do for your birthday? You were here. That's right. You were here for your birthday.
Yeah. I chaperoned.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. That's right.
Was that when I came for my birthday?
Yeah. Yeah. Because like the day you was the day the day you were leaving was your birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
All right. Sorry. So 2021, and I knew it didn't sound right.
That's funny.
Didn't feel right. Right.
It's funny.
Okay, so we're 2021. So, I mean, I think in perspective, we're really young.
Yeah.
Which is really cool for a lot of reasons, but you can expand on this too personally, but what I feel like makes us different is that we, in the past probably 3-4 years, have dedicated a lot of time to finding people and looking for people and studying people and studying other things in people, like business models of how do I get better. I mean, that's one of the core principles is how do I get better. I think a very healthy principle is how do I do better than my parents. I think every parent, I'm not a parent, but I think every parent would agree with that, is like, I want my kids to be better than us in every way. It's not a prideful thing.
Well, I think a good way to say that is I want my kids to go further than I ever could.
There we go. We want to push the marker down further.
Why? Because when I grew up, we didn't have these opportunities.
Yeah.
We didn't have these doors. It's a whole new world. A whole new world.
Yeah.
But to not go down that path too far,
let's not get on that
talk
carpet.
about that thought just on for a second is like, I heard people talking about it once, and they were saying, you go up and ask someone who's 50, when you were a teenager, who were your financial mentors, role models, people that you looked up to?
Yeah.
And they could possibly tell you, maybe their grandpa, maybe their uncle who owned a business, maybe their pastor.
Yeah.
But like, they didn't know any names like Alex Hormozy.
Right.
They didn't know any names like Andy Elliott. They didn't know any entrepreneurs.
There's no Gary V.
You know, there was no, you didn't know all these names. And now you have guys that are our age that are making $1 million a year.
Yeah, the possibility.
You have guys that are
there.
25 making $1 million a year. You have guys that are 30 making $1 million a year and more.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. And I'm not saying that that's, okay, I'm trying to make, $100 million in a year, because at a certain point, money just becomes money.
Yeah.
You have to have peace, happiness, and joy, and you find that in God. And ultimately, that's why I say this, to be successful in the kingdom of God, the first thing you have to have is a relationship with God.
Right. A relationship.
Because you can go and do your first 6-figure year and it will not fulfill you.
Right.
You can go and do your first $1 million year net to the bank.
Yep.
That's your profit. That's after taxes. And if you don't have a true relationship with God, that $1 million won't fulfill. Why? Because what are you going to do? You're a young person. You're like, man, I finally did it. This was a huge goal of mine. So now I have the money. I go out and buy my dream car. I go and I have my Porsche. And I go and I get the outfits. And I go and I have this. And my life it's still the same world that I'm living in. It's still the same people that I see when I look around. Money doesn't fulfill anything. Money solves problems. And solved problems tend to bring happiness, peace. So I believe in going out and doing as good as you can. I believe also that business is a huge thing in the kingdom of God today, with pushing the kingdom of God forward. How many churches have been built off the backs of business owners?
Right.
But I believe that if you don't have a relationship with God,
keep talking.
that business is one of the worst things that you could try giving all your time to. Because, like I said, you're never going to be fulfilled in it. And it ends up taking up more of your time. Why? Because you want to do better. $1 million didn't fulfill you. So what do? You go for more, because that's what you did when you were at 100,000. That's what you did when you were at $250,000 and $500,000, and now you're at $1 million, and now you got to go for 5, and now you got to go until you can fly private, and now you got to go until you can do all these little things. And then you do those things, and you find that at the end of the day, when you lay your head down on the pillow, that's why there's celebrities, people who are rich, people who had everything that as a young person they say they ever wanted, and yet they're overdosing on drugs, yet they're depressed. Yet they wanted to be famous, but they hate the paparazzi now. Why? Because there's no fulfillment in fame and fortune and money. If you don't have a relationship with God, none of that means anything. But if you do, it is a huge catapult to what God can do. Not only in your family, but through your family. He can use you in such great ways. He can use you in your church. He can use you in such bigger ways. And I think someone made a very good point of this, is when you have money, people look at you in a different way. Now, this is not to say go and flash your money, go and put a Gucci belt on, go and wear your most expensive, go and wear your Rolex, your AP, your, Cartier watch. That's not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, when you come looking nicely dressed versus someone that has a ripped t-shirt and jeans on, there's usually one of those two people that you're going to respect more, or you'll hear their opinion more, which is huge, because which one of those are you going to respect and hear their opinion more? Most of the time, it's the guy that's well dressed. This is not to come at anyone or to target anyone, but you see someone who's well fit and someone who looks like they've never seen a gym in their life. Who are you going to trust to be your personal trainer? That's an obvious answer. But when it comes to... it's a very obvious answer. But when it comes to the things of God, what kind of a witness can we give?
Right.
When we invite someone over to our house for a Bible study, we have dinner made for them, but they come into our house and they're like, wow.
Yeah.
And you invite them back and they're like, that's a house that I want to go back to.
Right. Oh,
Like,
that's
it's
the best
comfortable,
compliment
it's
ever.
nice, it looks nice,
Right.
and you don't realize how much that does, because you can get someone to come to a Bible study because, wow, that's a really nice house, and wow, they treated me very well.
Yeah.
This is not a pride thing, but if you were given the choice of seats to sit down,
Mhm.
right, and you, or two different rooms, and you see one that looks all nice, business-like, nice leather couch, and you got the plants, and you got the decor,
Mhm.
and you got the espresso machine in the corner there, and it just looks very nice. Or you go into one, and you got a stained couch that looks like it came from Goodwill, you got some clothes thrown on the floor, one might be more relatable, because maybe you came from a little bit of a mess.
Mhm.
But if you came from that and you're searching for something in life,
Right.
that's obviously not where you want to stay.
Right.
And so out of those two rooms, which one would you choose? You would choose the nice one.
Yeah.
So in being a witness, right, maybe it's because I invited someone to my house for a Bible study, or maybe they've been in the church for a while and I invite them over to dinner just to show them love. But when they see the nice house, it's not me flaunting my money.
Mhm.
It's not me being conceited.
Mhm.
Because guess what? Yeah, I could live in a shack and give everything away that I have. But at the end of the day, so many people that are just looking for a handout will forever just be looking for a handout.
Mhm.
Why? Because that's why they are in the first place. They didn't want to work for something. They didn't want to put their effort towards something. They want something handed to them.
Right.
But when you have someone who wants to change, whether spiritually, mentally, physically, or all the above, financially, and they come and they see a person that has some things, especially if they know or get to know this person and know that they didn't just grow up with that. That wasn't just in their history through all their life. There's a message to that. And now that's a person that they want to be around, and you can influence and change someone's life just by what you have. It's more greedy to say, I just want enough. God, I just need enough just to supply for me and my family. Why? Because then you'll never be able to give to anyone else. You'll never be able to help anyone else.
And you're
if
limiting
only
God.
have
Why
just
limit
enough.
yourself? Why limit God?
100%.
God wants to give you so much. That's the will of God.
Yeah.
It's for you to be blessed.
Yeah.
It's the will of God for the cup runneth over, not you just have enough in your cup. It's like, bro, there's leftovers. And that, we can close on like this kind of section of the conversation.
Yeah.
Because we could talk forever. We love this conversation. This is, I think, one of the principles that make us really good friends, is that we love this kind of conversation. It reminds me of when, hold on, I want to get the names right. I'm going to botch it. Right, is Queen Esther, King Nebuchadnezzar, Haman, and Mordecai. Mordecai was going to get reported because he saved the king's life. And Haman gave him the idea because he thought he was going to get it for himself. He was like, put the king's robe on him, put the look of the king on him. Whether that's the ring, whether that's the robe, like whatever. Put the look of the king on him. Like, let him have the king's look. And then parade him in the streets. So this is how the king rewards those who please him. Right? I think I'm getting that quote right. This is where I get my computer. Because I don't think he says this is how the Lord rewards those who please him. Right? I think he said this is how the king rewards those who please him. Anyway, but in front of all the people.
Because everything he said, if it pleased the king. Is that the same story? The person that said if it pleased the king, when he came to the king, and he said if it pleased the king.
Yeah.
This,
I think it's the same story. Yeah. Okay, so he's got the look of the king. And so you're just working in the market, and you just see this guy. I mean, a lot of people knew everybody, right? A lot of people just, I know that person. You work with them day in and out. Well, he, I don't know what he did before he worked at the palace, but he started working at the palace. He worked his way up. Like, he's a Jew. He's worked his way up into the palace. And now he has the king's look on him, being paraded in front of everybody. I mean, that's better than a raise, but my point is, work hard that you get the king's look on you. Work hard when, you go to do some simple task at the flea market, you go to the grocery store, and people just look at you and are like, man, there's something different about him. He's got this look. Yep. And yes, it can be a physical, I don't know, they look nice, they are wearing a suit, but it can also be in the way that you handle someone and in the way you talk to them and the way you carry yourself and your demeanor. It's like, bro, you've got this royalty thing about you. Like, I don't know what it is. We should be portraying, not just, that's not even the right word. Portraying is kind of almost like you don't have it, but we should be emulating and reflecting God's goodness and God's riches. God is into gold.
As
right?
kings and priests.
As kings and priests. God is into gold. God is into, King Solomon built the temple, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're reflecting his goodness and his blessing.
Yeah.
To live the life that we have is a blessing, whether we have a nice suit or not. Principle. To live this life and living for God is just a blessing. In this time and day that we live, any time and day, it's a great day to live for God. And it's a good day to live and die for him. Because that's true living, is you're ready to die for it. Anyways, you have the look of the king. You are blessed. That is where I want to get.
Mm-hmm.
Where you pick up other people's tab, where you take people out to church. Sorry, take people out to dinner from church on your dollar.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
100%.
That is such an exciting thing. Not a boasting thing. Not like, look what. No, it's not about you or your
Not at
business or what you've done. It's like, look what God's allowed me to do, because God can take it away. And I think that's such a very important principle to keep in mind. Like, it's like, I want to break out into a Jordan Peterson impression so bad. Every time I say it's like, yeah, I just do. But don't ever get so successful and so buried in your work and so rich and so blessed that you thought it was yours to make.
In the words of Bishop Holmes, he said, and he said this in a fearing God way, not in that he's literally over here just shaking in his boots, thinking that God is going to do this. But he said, I'm scared to death of God, because when we built that church that we built on the highway, I knew that just as sure as it was built, just as sure as we occupy that and have service there and sing the songs that we do, and that just as sure as we're there today, just as sure as I'm breathing right now, God could put a for sale sign in front of there.
Bro. 1 second.
And that's what keeps...
He can take, he can give away. He can give and he can take away.
Exactly. That's what keeps you
humble,
and should keep you humble enough with what you have to do the right thing. It's not wrong to have a nice house, and it's not wrong to have a nice car. It's not wrong to go on vacation. But when money becomes a god, that's a different thing. Always know that giving to God is supposed to be of your first fruits. God doesn't get leftovers. He gets first fruits.
Your best.
Yeah.
Your best.
And then let God use you to bless other people.
Right. And it's dude, God is so smart. Like he's built it for a specific reason. Like the kingdom, God's kingdom, it's a kingdom. It's an order. There's order. There's ways to go up. There's ways to go down if you're doing it wrong. Like there's so many great avenues that God has created that we can grow into. Something that I've worked on praying is like, God, bless my hands when I work. I'm an editor. I'm a videographer. Like I'm not planting trees or moving concrete, but God, bless my mind to think creatively for my business and just be the best that I can be in my
100%.
space. That's an individual prayer. That's an individual, just me, not like, God, please help my coworkers do better. It starts with me. Yeah. It starts with me. And being apostolic, I have to be the one who leads by example.
100%.
For my coworkers. I think there was one other point I wanted to make, but no, we could go down this rabbit hole forever.
Well, quickly to finish with this, because this was something that I had studied on. Part of it was for a sermon, and part of it was just studying on when God sent the 12 spies. Through speaking to Moses, he sent the 12 spies into the promised land to go and check it out. And he said to Moses that I want you to get these 12 spies and send them unto the land which I give thee. He had already given them the land.
It was already there.
But they had to go and take it.
Yeah.
Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. And God was going to save Noah and his family. But what did he do? He put a blueprint in his hand. He didn't just pick them up and set them down on a dry earth and start new. He put a blueprint. He didn't just plop an ark down and say, here's your new home for this many days. No, you have to build.
Yeah, here's your Airbnb.
So the Israelites, right? God did not intend them to be slaves to Pharaoh forever. God had better, but it depended upon them adapting, moving, taking the necessary steps. When God sent them to the promised land, it was Israel that decided to delay it. It was not God that said, no, go take a trip for 40 years before I give you the promise.
Yeah.
No. He said, go take a look at the land which I give you.
Mm-hmm.
And they went and looked and said, it's too much for us. We can't do it. God said, I already gave it to you.
That's frustrating.
And I preach this, that when he gives you the land, he gives you the power over the enemy.
And you got to keep the enemy off that land because they're right on the border. There's borders.
Yeah.
There's borders. It's like they had a hunger for an Egyptian diet, but they didn't have a hunger for God's will.
Yep.
Like they never left it. They kept bringing Egypt with them. They brought a god, and then they brought their and they just kept bringing Egyptian things with them.
Talking about the Israelites and seeing that land. The promise is never going to come without obstacles.
Right.
And when they went into that land, except for Joshua and Caleb, which brought back a good report, but except for them, they went and they saw the obstacles instead of the opportunities that were in the land.
They could see with vision.
They only saw what the enemy saw of them. Because what does the Bible say? They said, we are in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so are we in the enemy's. But guess what? If they would have never seen those enemies, they would have never seen themselves as grasshoppers. They were reflecting what the enemy saw on them, versus saying, I'm a child of God. I was formed in God's image, and no giant is too big for God. And God ain't scared of no giant.
Right.
But the thing is, if you're going to go live in big cities and have the grapes and the clusters that the promised land brings, of course there's going to be giants.
It's all part of it.
He could have given them an average land. He could have given them just another, but it wouldn't have been the promised land if there weren't giants there.
God's not giving
You have to
Ohio's
knock down
out.
giants to get to the promise.
Yeah. God's not into Ohio land. Yeah, work it, cultivate it, own it.
Yeah.
Own it. You know what's crazy is like I'm thinking now. You're officially the first guest on the podcast. My other guest is coming on, I think, next week or whatever, but got to sneak you on. That's pretty appropriate.
Yeah.
Not sure when I'm going to post it in what order. Maybe I should post this first. Just make this 001. I wrote it on the board. 01. We've been friends for 2 years. What does this summit make? It's 25.
So, officially, briefly met in 2022.
Which I still don't remember.
But then in Summit, 2023 was when we actually got to hang out. That's when we were friends, because we followed each other online before then, and then we met and became good friends starting in 2023.
And then we got to see each other again at Peak.
Yeah.
When I was logging.
So
episode
this
is already out. Go look at it. The vlog's out with the boys.
April 2025 will make 3 years that we've been.
Dude, it just seems like it's been forever.
2023. Yeah, 2 years.
Dude.
I know.
Dude, that doesn't make sense to me. That seems
2 years
wrong.
Is so
I feel like it's been 4 years.
Same. It's crazy.
I remember one of the biggest transitions for me in my personal life that you were a really great help for is when I started cowboying. Like when I really started. So I went to North Dakota. Remember that? I went to North Dakota, fell in love with it, and I was like, I want to do this. I want to.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Huh?
I think I know what you're going to say.
What?
No, keep going, but I think I know what you're going to say, like where you're going.
Yeah, no, I was like, I want to do this. I want to cowboy. I want to have this lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's I don't in a short. I'm gonna make a whole episode on my experience on that.
Yeah.
But, dude, going on a train by yourself and then going to, thousands and thousands of acres, to go ranch, it just changes you. You're like, okay. I just remember sitting on a porch, and it was like 6 a.m. and we were gonna probably saddle up around 6:30. We got to catch the horses and then saddle up and all that. It takes a while. But it was 6, and it's raining heavy. There's a tin roof. I'm outside, and they are just all kind of getting up. So I was kind of like outside, just kind of waiting. And I don't know what it was, but this rain was just falling heavily, but not like it was harsh, but it was just straight down, just straight down rain. But it had this calm, had this like peace with the water on the tin roof. And I just was looking at all this land in front of me, and they had built fences for the cows, the horses, all this stuff. And that was my first time really experiencing a certain unique peace that comes with nature and owning nature, like domesticating it, owning land.
Yeah.
There's something about it that you work very hard for, but there is a certain tranquility that you get. And I was like, I want this lifestyle, which is a big deal because I don't have, at that time, no connections of that kind of lifestyle. No, really nobody that I was close to. I didn't grow up on a ranch. I'm born in the city, born on, some of the busiest streets in Spokane, like firefighters and ambulance and all that, just going up and down the road every hour. They're just there. And so that was a big change for me. But coming back, I was like, God, please open up doors. And I was praying sincerely, that God would open up a door, because I was like, man, I just want to start roping. I want to ride horses better. I want to understand how to train a horse. Another video for another time, but I got connected and all that. I started riding, and I remember experiencing like a lot, even from other friends, which I don't hold it against them, but a lot of people would be like, hey, that's not you. Like, what are you doing?
I knew where you were going with it.
That's not you.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, why are you going and riding horses and training with the horse? And why are you trying to live this lifestyle that's not you? Like, you got a cowboy hat now, you've got jeans, you're changing your wardrobe. Like, this isn't you. And I didn't have a problem with people asking questions like, hey, why are you now doing this? Because I would explain to them, I found a new passion. I found a new desire for a lifestyle that I want to acquire. I don't have now, but I'm going to work for it. People would just really, and I think it's just a natural thing. You can't take it too personal, but people would just can't really support you because they couldn't see it. And it's like, well, of course you can't see it. You're not the person with vision. I'm the person with vision, envisioning in 20 years buying the land and having horses and roping and, maybe in competing. Wait, hold on. Gosh darn it, I'm mixing my words. Competing and team roping. I have a vision of the kind of lifestyle I now want to live. So many people were like, well, that's not you. And the frustration was like, you don't get to define what's me. I do. I get to choose my lifestyle. I get to go learn how horses work and train them and grow this whole different lifestyle that you don't know. But a lot of people, and it sounds almost like, boo-hoo, Tyler, like, people asked you, why are you doing this, and you got offended. It wasn't like that. It was like, everybody was like, what are you doing?
No, I remember because you had called me and talked to me about this.
Yeah. Do you remember that call?
Yeah.
I had a couple calls like that. Do you remember what I was saying?
Well, I just remember you calling me telling me about what had happened, and I had seen like the change, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Like,
Yeah, you're supportive.
totally cool,
Really
yeah.
supportive.
And then you told me how like you got by everyone else, and everyone else was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that's
not you.
yeah, like,
Mhm.
come on now. And now let's just say this, right? If I seen, man, I'm trying to think of something that's just really out of place.
An armadillo in water.
Well, not just anything that's out of place, but I have a specific
Okay.
kind of vision, but
A
I'm
chess
trying
player
to
at
capture
a
it.
chess player at a horse show, or a chess player at an arena.
Let's just say you see.
A tennis player at a wrestling match.
I mean, it could be that, but then I know you have like Stephen Curry, who also loves golf
Yeah.
and is very good at it. He's
Okay.
very good, from what I've seen, at least. Maybe he's
Okay.
trash.
Yeah.
But, right, you see someone that's not in a natural habitat of theirs, and there's kind of two things that could go through your mind. Now, you could have someone that's such an impersonator.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, they are impersonating as hard as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who never even touched dirt a day in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do that. Got my new boots. And like they won't even step on the grass with their new boots. Pavement princess.
Pavement.
But then you have someone who genuinely is like, man, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Two totally different things.
Right, it's two different people.
And I think I think why I was supportive is because seeing someone, it's not just, okay, we're friends and, I support you in whatever you do, no matter how stupid it is. No, that's not. My idea was like, hey, if you found something that you really love,
Yeah.
as long as it doesn't go against God
Yeah.
and your morals, like, go for it. And so you could say something as simple, because this isn't talking about lifestyle, but someone like finding their own style. Someone could finally find something, like they've always worn one type of clothing
Right.
or one style of clothing.
Yeah.
They've never really loved it, but then they found something and they're like, dude, I love this style.
Yeah.
On them. Not because you can see a Pinterest post
Right.
and you could try it on and be like, this is totally not me. But then they find it on them and they're like, man, I love this. And someone's going to go, oh, that's new.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're over here like, man, I love this. I'm not going to sit here and down them.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I'm just not used to seeing them like that.
Sure.
Guess what? At some point, there's going to be a new drummer, a new singer, a new preacher, a new podcast, and you're not going to be used to seeing that person like that. And you either have to learn to go, okay, this is someone stepping into a position. This is someone stepping into something.
Yeah.
Or you're just going to be a critic for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Change reveals people. Change can reveal yourself. Change can reveal other people around you. When you change, are you changing for the better? I think if you got to learn how to assess change. If a person close to you has changed and things are different, evaluate, is this person better off after these changes? Are these changes affecting me positively or negatively? And if it's good, and if it doesn't affect you, and if it's just them, and you're just kind of left with just your opinion, well, maybe you're the problem if you have a problem with their change.
Yeah.
Their change. But yeah, it was a big deal because no family except for this. My great uncle was a legitimate cowboy because I ain't no cowboy. I just like to learn the skills of a cowboy.
Yeah.
My uncle lost his right, the knuckle and up, to roping. When you're on your horse and you're roping cattle, and you go throw the rope, right? It goes around the calf, and it's called dallying. You take that rope and you dally across your saddle horn because that's what's gonna make it taut and stop them. He had his thumb in the rope when it got dallied, and so that calf took off and like just
That's
cut
crazy.
through it, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it just cut through the skin so much that it was hanging off, and so he just cut it off, and he had a little nub. I
Man.
love my great uncle. I wish he was still here. I really do. But that's the only connection I have.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this because I love it. And that was 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years ago. And now, dude, I'm so happy. I've brought my horse from about a $3,000 horse to like 8 to 10 is where he was assessed because of the training I put into him. I can rope off of him. He can work around cattle. And he's just becoming a phenomenal horse.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that because people now are accepting of it because they've seen it so much and they've seen, okay, that's what Tyler does. And they've seen the results, but a lot of people don't support you in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a big thing that anyone who wants to do something great, don't expect people to support you. Don't want that.
Yeah, well,
You
that's
shouldn't
why
need that.
People say it. Don't tell people your dreams and goals.
Yeah. Let's do
Now, there's two sides to that.
Mhm.
Because if you never told anyone,
Mhm.
you're never, ever going to be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If
Gotta be very
I
careful
go,
who you're
man,
accountable to."
I want to do this. I want to make this much money. I want to do this business. I want to get into this. And this is my passion.
Mm-hmm.
But I never tell anyone. Could I end up just going dark, giving solid time and effort to it, and being successful, and then telling people? Yes, that would be awesome. But man, if you don't tell anyone, and tomorrow you wake up and you're like, this is going to take work. Never mind. But you still want to see that happen, but
Mhm.
you're just like, man, this is going to take work.
Yeah.
You need to tell someone.
Yeah.
You need to tell some people. And I don't believe it's totally wrong to tell a couple people, yes, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to get into, and then end up being wrong.
Yeah.
I think every successful person has had that,
Yeah.
where they're like, man,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Watch
and
me.
It's
the
all
next
gonna work
weekend.
out.
They're like, hey, how's it going?
All of a sudden, someone's like, dude, how's this thing going?
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
I stopped that like
Yeah.
4 months ago.
And it
They're
hurts.
like, oh, you're not doing it at all?
It's a
And
gut.
Yeah,
It's a
it
gut
does.
punch.
Because you don't want to tell people that.
Because you have to admit to failure.
Yeah.
You have to admit, I failed.
But that's one of the biggest things is every failure to an entrepreneur who wants to be an entrepreneur is a lesson of how do I not do what I did wrong there.
Yeah. Do me
How
a
do I
favor,
not fail
check
next
your
time?
mic. Pull your
Yep.
mic out, the box, and just tell me if you see that little circle, and you can point it to me. See a circle with your
Yeah.
finger? Yep. And what number does it say? Like
1:43:56. An hour and 43.
no way. Dude, yeah. Dude, it's been like 2 hours. With balls.
Dang.
Holy moly. Gotta retract that.
It's crazy.
Holy moly. It's 8:50. When did I text Sydney? 7:23. Yeah. How much longer do you want to record for?
We can end it here in a second.
Okay.
But what was I saying? What were we talking about?
Hmm?
Telling people goals and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a broken record when it comes to this because it's like I said earlier, like we're in that stage where we've done a lot of research and we have a lot of good foundational principles
Oh yeah.
that we know we're gonna have to put this into work and acquire it. We don't have like the fruits too much to show of it, right?
Yep.
Like we don't, but that's fine. We're 20.
Yeah.
We're 21. That's the awesome thing is like we have our whole lives ahead of us, and that can kind of be a double edged way to look at it. Is 'cause sometimes I look at it like, man, I've got a lot of time. This is great, and sometimes the other half, I'm like, I feel like I haven't done enough.
Yep.
I feel like I'm behind the curve. But when you think about it, that typically comes from comparison. I'm but when you think about it, that's really coming from comparison. That comparison is the thief of all joy.
Yep.
When I compare my life to other 21-year-olds and I say, well, man, they've got this, this, and this down, don't trade your troubles. Don't trade anything for anybody else, because you can get the fruit, you can get whatever they have, the end product, but you have no idea what their troubles are. You have no idea. And they probably would rather have your
100%.
troubles than, vice versa. And I've had to learn to just remind myself, do not compare myself. Do not compare my skills. Do not compare in a bad way, right? It's totally okay to look up at people who have done what you want to do.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's called creating a vision for yourself. That's called getting reality. Like, what is reality for me? What can I achieve? And some. But the biggest thing I have learned, and I'm so adamant, and I really try to integrate this into my character, is I don't care, and I will not be conformed and tied down to the feeling of fear and regret. I don't want to regret the things that I do when I gave my all. I was passionate. I tried it. I didn't succeed. That's fine. I'm not going to regret it, and I'm not going to feel sorry for myself, and I'm not going to let the feeling of failure stop me from the next one. And we can just look at any successful person. Doesn't matter if they're just a spiritually successful person, because it's like, man, look at how God is using them and in so many ways in the kingdom, or just a business or whatever. They made mistakes, and so will you. And be okay with that. Like, just own it. Like, yeah, no, I made a mistake here, and learn from it. A mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from it, in my opinion. A mistake, quote unquote, you didn't get it right. You just gave yourself one less way to mess up next time.
So I want to say something about the thought of comparing yourself, and then about the thought of starting young.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say starting young, I'm talking about all things coming into being an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So comparing yourself, obviously, yes, we talked about it's dangerous to compare yourself. Don't trade troubles. And that's a very important idea, because, man, there is some people that I see, and I won't get situationally specific just in case people hear this, but you can look at someone, and I'm speaking this genuinely, because you'll run into people that you think they really do have it.
Sure.
They just have it going.
Sure.
What do they even, like, man, what does that person do? Some people you don't even ask, you'll just wonder, because you're like, man, this kid is 16 and, like, he wore a custom suit, a different suit for, like, almost every night of peak or summit or whatever conference or camp you just got back from. And, this dude's 17 or 18, wore a different custom suit every night. He's talking to me about, this next one that he's getting, and this and that, whatever, and you don't see that he doesn't pay for insurance.
Yeah.
Someone else does.
Maybe he doesn't pay his tires.
That's a tricky area. But even if he did, like, he's not paying for insurance. His parents are, right? He's still living with his parents.
Yeah.
Probably paying no rent. I'm not saying, and I'm not speaking of a specific person or a specific situation. If you're watching this, if you're hearing this, but let's say, right, you see and you just go, man, materially, like, I'm looking at this kid
really
and like,
good.
Why does he have it all going on for him?
Right.
And bro, I just got this suit passed down to me.
Yeah.
I don't got this and this, and I don't have, and you're looking and evaluating all these little things, and you don't realize what he doesn't have that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize the experiences that he doesn't have that you have. You don't realize where your mind is at versus where his mind is at.
Yeah.
And then, and I've seen this happen so many times, is someone will start going down a road to be successful. And they'll be the one that everyone's looking at and going, for the next 2 years, bro, that person is not often going out to eat after service. They're wearing the same suits. They're wearing the same shoes. Everyone else, they're seeing get new sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
They got their new custom loafers on. They got this, they got that.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else got their new car. You're driving that same old truck.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving that same old car. You're wearing the same old clothes. And all of a sudden, that third or that fourth year, that fifth year, they start seeing little things introduced, but all of a sudden, you pull up in your 2025,
Yep.
or 3 years from now, 2028,
Yeah.
fully paid off,
Yeah.
brand new truck.
Mm.
They're like, man,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, how much the payment on that thing? They're like, payment? What are you talking about?
Paid it off.
They're like, oh, what did you empty your savings? You're like, no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still doing pretty all right. Because you went dark and you took that money and you put it into the business, into this, into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, don't compare yourself. Because, man, you see that guy that you're like, oh, he has nothing. And really, he could be going dark mode.
Yeah.
Villain arc. That's a terrible way to put it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, right.
he could be going dark, right? Spending nothing,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't see what he's spending behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You're just seeing the kid that's flashing all his money, and that's all he has
Yeah.
is the 5 custom suits. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about, I said was, starting young. Life, everything, what it means to be an adult. Starting young. When it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to taking responsibility in your church, when it comes to leading and or serving, having a ministry. And when I say that, I'm talking about whether you sing, whether you play music, whether you clean, whether you are an usher, whether you're a sound person, whether you're doing live stream, whether you're teaching a Sunday school class. That's what I mean. I don't mean you're a preacher, you're a missionary. Your ministry is what you do for the kingdom of God, right? Your ministry can be a business. But anyways, when it comes to starting young, there is a very, what I would call a broken mindset of certain people that say, man, you're so young, just take these years and live it up and like, dude, don't be so focused.
Don't take yourself serious.
Like, bro, you're an adult at 18, but like, man, like don't get so caught up because someone else is getting married, and don't get so caught up because someone else is starting a business. Like, man, you got time. And that's why we have people who go 25, who go 26, 27, 28, 29, 30th birthday, 31st, 32nd, 33rd, 34th, 35th birthday. And they don't have anything to show for it. And you have another 35-year-old who's married, has 2 kids, has a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because one said, man, I'm just going to take my time, and man, it doesn't matter about
And I'll
all
wait
that
till
right
it's
now.
right.
Because
I'll wait till everything's there
exactly.
for me.
I'm 20 years old. I'm 25 years old. I'm just getting my stuff figured out and kind of tucked away. And there's one guy that when he was 20, he was getting his stuff figured out and tucked away. But bro, I'm telling you, I believe in there are those posts that say, take that vacation, ask the question, talk to the person. Why? Because some chances you'll only ever get once. You'll only live this life on earth once, and go and do it, right? But what I don't believe in is just frivolously wasting your early years.
Yeah.
Don't despise, don't despise your youth. But at the same time, that verse comes from the fact that as a young person, you can be something great.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that goes into all areas, into leadership, into business, into marriage and starting a family. Man, if you can do things right young, do them.
Yeah.
Like, look back 50 years. Look back 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
What were they doing? And we see some of them and we're going, man, like, I want to have that house that they have, and I want to have this and that, and like, how did they do it? And they had this business and they got into this and this. And you're like, oh yeah, they also got married when they were 18.
Yeah.
They also were working hard doing this and that at 15, 14, And so I'm not saying go work hard labor at 14, get married at 18, and that's just the way to do it. But what I'm saying is, man, when you're young, don't just waste your life because, oh, I'm young.
Don't count it as meaningless.
Yeah.
Don't count your time as time is never meaningless. It doesn't matter if you're 62 or 14.
And don't think that, bro, if you see like marriage as tying you down, you're not ready to get married. I'll say that much. If you're 30, if you're 35 and you see marriage as tying you down, you may end up being a Lee Stone King. And I'm not talking about the spiritual aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's nothing against Lee Stone King. That's that's a bad way to put it.
Yeah.
You may end up being just a single person forever.
Yeah.
If you're still thinking like that. Because marriage should not be a tie down. It should be one of the best decisions you could ever make in your life.
It elevates
Starting
you.
a business.
It's supposed to elevate you.
Yeah. Starting a business and putting time and effort into it should not be a tie down. You're working now for the freedom later.
That has been a big thing for me. I feel like my dad helped me to see momentary sacrifice.
Yeah.
He really helped me to see that. And I have that. That's like in my character for everything now. Like even in the candy I get, I want to get a candy that has, like, Nerds is my favorite candy. I can have Nerds that'll last me the whole day rather than just one Kit Kat. Because in one Kit Kat, I would just eat it. Nerds I'll have forever. Right. So I would always pick that, or I don't know. That's just how my brain works now. It's because it's like, well, what can last the longest? And, or maybe I need to save up more before I cash it in for such and such thing. Momentary sacrifice is always worth it. I'm 21, and it's a great time to understand, like, you don't have everything figured out. You're not supposed to. Be okay with that. Get blueprints. Like, I look at my time now as, I mean, there's so many different rabbit holes I can go down, but get blueprints. Figure out how life works. Figure out how money works. Figure out what it means to put 3 years into a company and get elevated to a certain spot. Take on responsibility. Like, get outside your comfort zone. Begin to stretch and grow and learn.
Yeah.
And get blueprints of this world. And you're getting a map, and you start forming your own map. It's kind of like, I don't know, if you walk down a whole neighborhood of mansions. You went to every single person and you got their blueprint and you liked how they did the kitchen. Take that. Go to the next house. You like how they did the driveway. Take that. And you go, as these years progress, you're getting these different blueprints of like what fits you and what makes you you and what you like, what's your character. And at the end of a couple years, maybe 5, like there should be kind of a time frame to help you there. But I don't know, if we start at 20, 5, 6 years down the road, you've gathered so much information. You now know this is what I want to build and this is what I'm going to hone in on. Now you're 26, 27, and I'm saying a number, not to say like I have figured out this is the number that when you need to do it,
Yeah.
but I'm saying in a 7-year time span of when you start. You can start at 50.
Correct.
People start at 40 and 50 and 60,
Yeah.
and they still make their money, make their business, and are successful. It doesn't matter when you start, but for someone in my scenario, 20 to 27, gather information. And I want to say a whole lot, but just on a basis, get a skill. You get paid to solve problems. That is a transaction. Where I work, in essence, the boss says, if I pay you this money, will you solve my problem? And I say yes, because I've made a skill where I can solve your problem. There are people who want edits from him, and I edit those. You hear that?
The battery's rattling.
Therefore, I get money. The bigger problem you solve, the more money you're going to get.
100%.
Simply put, we could talk forever, but learn your principles. Learn principles.
Yep.
Gather blueprints. Get information. Study people. Learn how to sift through people you shouldn't be listening to. Learn what an online guru is and learn the difference between a coach, an online guru,
Yep.
and someone who has money now but didn't acquire the money that they have now with what they're trying to teach you.
Yeah.
They used a different way to make money, and now they're trying to teach you, here, I'll show you how to make money. But they're not showing you how they made so much money. They used it doing something else over here. And now they're trying to teach you how. No. Learn your principles. Learn what kind of voices you should be listening to. Invest in yourself, I think, is the biggest thing I've heard and learned.
Yep.
Investing in yourself is where you're taking the time and even money. Like something I really want to do is go to my local college and go take some finance classes. Like $100.
Yep.
Like you're not a student, but you pay a couple $100 and you can get a course.
Yeah.
Educate yourself, grow in your skill set, make yourself valuable, worth hiring, like you would want to hire yourself.
Exactly.
Solve a problem and stick with something, and just like I know someone right now who I think is at his 3rd job in the year, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. He's young, and he is going to different places to find out what he can do, what he likes, and what he doesn't like.
Yeah.
I think that's phenomenal. When you're not married and you don't have any responsibilities but keep yourself alive, dude, go learn how to landscape. Go learn how to tailor a suit. Go learn how to mow a lawn. Like, go learn those skills. Make enough money to
Don't
take care.
lock down yourself to one
You don't
thing,
have to.
especially when you're young.
Right, you don't have to. You don't know what you like. I would rather go learn. Like, I love what Matthew McConaughey said. He said, I start with, in regards to figuring out who you are, figure out who you're not. Well, I'm not, let's start with dramatics. Well, I'm not a thief. I'm not a liar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be this. And I, like, scratch out all the things you don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That will help you clearly understand who you are going to be.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of do a process by elimination. Go intern here. Go over there. Figure out, man, I hate working with more than 5 people. Or I'm a great leader. Learn fundamental skills that you can use later. But
Yeah.
don't pressure yourself.
I'm a people
Too
person.
much.
I'm a trades person.
Mhm.
I'm a this. I'm a that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and figure out how you can leverage that.
Yep.
And I would say a good spot to be, obviously, right, if you're 30 something and you're just lost for direction, then maybe you're starting in your mid 30s.
Yeah.
But
It's never too late to start.
exactly.
It's never
And
too late
I've
to
seen
start.
people like you were talking about a second ago, 50, 60
Mhm.
that are starting something big and they're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
But and I've seen people be successful, wildly successful doing that. But my point is this: if you are a young person, whether you're under 20, you're in your 20s, I would say it's a very good spot from age 20 to age 25, 26, but especially 20 to 25, and somewhere in there, find who you are.
Yeah.
It might not be the exact thing that you want to do. Let me tell you this, the thing that makes you successful, if we're talking about success. So I'm guessing if you're listening to this trying to take notes right now, right? It's because you're looking at it from the side of, I want to be successful.
And let's
But-
define success.
Yeah.
What is success? Success has got to be a personal thing to you.
Yes.
But really, I think at its
Success
basis,
is not a number of money.
success, no, absolutely not. Success is I started here and I'm here in a projection as I'm going to be way down the line here.
Right.
You are succeeding yourself. You're succeeding obstacles. You are overcoming. Like you're born into, doesn't matter, rich, middle class, lower middle class. It doesn't matter where you're born. That's your starting point. To just get, I don't know, let's say, like we were just talking about, wanting to go further than your parents. Let's say, and this is probably a great way to have, well, actually it's not because of inflation, but let's just say your parents, when they were your age at 20, they were working an internship at a medical place, and that's still available to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you go and just say, I just don't want to do anything that's hard in applying, just give me McDonald's who will pay me $18 rather than the internship that'll pay me $16. Well, let's evaluate that. McDonald's will pay you $18, but there's a thing called a ceiling where you will only make so much money at the highest position.
Yeah.
The manager will only ever make so much money.
Mm-hmm.
At the internship, you're going to make $2 less at the beginning, but you apply yourself, you put in your time, and you grow in your knowledge, you're going to go to $22 an hour in 2 years. That is a path of success.
Yes.
Where you're choosing to put in, or once again, you're sacrificing momentarily those $2, but you're sacrificing all of that, and it's worth it because in the end, after 2 years of applying yourself, you will get $22, but you now have a skill set. Forget the money. It's about how can you solve someone's problem.
Right.
That's what you're valued at.
And what I was saying about being in that spot, like you're a young person, right? You're 20 to 25.
Yep.
Is even if you don't find the exact thing, right? Because I don't know if I said it yet or not, but the thing that makes you successful won't necessarily be the thing that you have to do for the rest of time.
Right.
I've seen so many people
Right.
get very successful doing a certain thing and then transition into something that they loved way more after the fact.
Absolutely.
And
a lot of
that
millionaires.
transition
A lot of millionaires.
was way easier after they became successful.
100%
first.
right.
But let me say this is it's a very good idea to, even if you don't find the exact thing that you want to do, and maybe you do, and that would be great. But even if you don't, somewhere in between 20 to 25, find what style you like. Do you like to work? Find what environments
Yeah.
you like to work in. What type of people you like to work with.
What puts fuel in the fire?
And are you someone who, I don't think success for everyone is being an entrepreneur.
No.
Entrepreneurship wasn't meant for everyone.
No,
You can be
not at all.
successful in your job.
Right. You can be the best employee. You're still a manager.
Yeah.
You're still a supervisor.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's a great topic because in our generation, it's almost like seen like you have to be an entrepreneur to be successful. That is not the case.
No.
If you're, and there are traits that are very clear about this. If you're introverted, don't really like too many people, don't like getting in uncomfortable situations, but man, you are a masterful engineer, mechanic, whatever. You have a skill and you have a knowledge. You can get paid absolutely. You can get paid. I gotta say this better. This is a cool thing about editing is that I can edit. You can be just as successful and you can go just as far working for someone else and you're happy. don't put yourself in where you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Like, I used to be at a point where I had the Monday blues. On Sunday, you're like, tomorrow's Monday and tomorrow's work, and I'm like really hating my life right now. That was at a time where I was very not as confident in my skill.
Yeah.
As an editor, right? As a videographer. Now, it's shifted. It's kind of, it has its similar qualities, but it's still not the same. Now it's like, okay, last week I left off here. It's going to take me this much time to finish it. Okay, good. I'm going to be helping my coworker with this. I'm now more just like analyzing the week.
Yep.
And it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, because it's like, I'm going to get a bonus. No, but I'm so much more involved in, not afraid of my work week, because I have a skill and a confidence in it. 'Cause I put in the time, bro. And it's not even a lot, but I put in enough time.
When you teach people to do something versus just telling someone to do something,
Yeah.
it's one of the best things that you can do in your business, in your church, in whatever. Because when you teach someone how to do something, they will take initiative. But if you tell someone how to do something or tell someone what to do,
Yeah.
you'll always have to tell them what to do.
Right.
So now, before, you may have been, man, I have to go to work. And you go to work and you get told, this is what you need to do. This is where we're off. But now you can be in that set where you come and you go, okay, sure, I may not, be skipping through daisies to get to work. But now you can be in a spot where you can be like, okay, this is where we left off. This is where we're going. This is what we plan to achieve today.
Yeah.
Here's our plan of action.
Yeah.
Let's go. And you can be a leader in your own sense.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Where do you want to end off? Just talking about...
I think we've been filming for 2 hours now, right?
Yeah.
My back is feeling it.
I can quickly say what I could quickly say, and you could, I'll say, here's what I think success means.
Yeah, let's do that, because I know
and
what I
then
want to
you
say.
can
End it.
respond and end it.
End it.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Okay. In your mind, in your opinion, at the age that we're at, from the knowledge that we've acquired, which we're still learning a whole lot, we're not here to claim like, oh man, we figured everything out and we're making a podcast because we're so smart. It's like, no, we just know, we're smart enough to know that we don't know a whole lot, but it's a good place to start, because it starts at humility and it starts at we're learning. But with what you've learned and gathered, if you could give a definition to success, what would that look like?
Yeah, a definition to success. I could give my picture of success, but that wouldn't be a definition. That wouldn't be valuable to other people, because that would be my, what does success mean to me? But in general, what does success mean? Number one, I say success starts with having a walk with God. But past that, right? If you're listening to this, past that, what does success mean? I would say that when you have a relationship with God, success is being in a place where you know both how to be abased and you know how to abound. You know what it means to have little, and you know what it means to have much.
Yeah.
And you know what it means that where you are, being successful is where you are. I have peace. I have joy. I have tranquility. I don't have to go searching for more, and I believe that you should never stop growing, never stop continuing, never stop finding more in God. But you're not so worried about the problems that are going to face you tomorrow anymore. When you're successful, right, I believe that there is a peace that comes with that. I believe that there is problems that have gone out the door. And although I say the hard part of this is success can be a moving definition. And that's why I brought up that I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. That comes from the Bible. Why? Because guess what? When I do abound, at the end of the day, there's going to be something more that I want. There's going to be something, that you're searching for. I think that to finish my statement, a good place where I found success is when you're at a point where you're not constantly searching for more. In personal life, you're content.
Content.
That's a good spot. And not to say that you should not be content with what you have when you are searching for more, but a contentment that lets you sit back and say, okay, I think this is a good spot to stay.
Yeah, you're unshaken.
Not in your walk with God. Always go further.
Right.
But in life in general.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, I think I've got this figured out. And I think for right now, this is where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a rough way to define. It's rough to sit here and try to define that. It's very difficult to say this is success for someone, because like we had talked about, success is definitely different for different people, for each person. But that is probably the best I could say at this moment, not having time to think and type something out about what success really means. Like I said, without describing what my life looks if I were to say I'm successful.
I'm doing this because these have been filming for an hour. It's been an hour since I reset those. That's nuts. I did it every 30 minutes. I don't know how that's been an hour, so I'm just gonna do this. I think that's a good answer. The reason I wanted to start a podcast like this is because I feel like this is laying the foundation for success for myself, and hopefully for other people. I don't know who I'm gonna be able to help, but why am I keep smiling? I don't know why I'm smiling. Got me blushing. I don't know who I'm going to be able to help, but I want to help people.
Yeah.
I have been helped through podcasts, and I love people, and I want to use a skill that I have as far as being able to talk with people and communications and my videography skills and editing skills, giving that back to my generation, and those who are just at the same spot in their life, no matter where it's at, is that they just want to be better. They want to have success and they want to grow, whatever success looks like for you. Yeah. This is good. Well, then I'm only down to one camera.
Huh?
Then I'm only down to one camera.
What are you talking about?
Like, so this camera's on me. How long is it going to be?
No, just keep. It's only a second. I'm just doing something. I'll tell you about it.
Okay. Just, I really want to be able to help people through other people's stories, through other people's mistakes, what they've learned, and other people's value.
You're supposed to keep talking because then there's gonna be a clip where it's on you. It's like, and I think that this and this, and it'll cut to the wide angle, and I'm just all of a sudden, no, it'll be a clip of me sitting on the couch nodding, a clip of you for 10 seconds, of you talking, and then it's a wide angle clip, and I'm like, well, you're just sitting there talking, and then it goes back. That was my thought behind that.
Yeah, I was so lost. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'll wrap this up. Success is different for everybody. Everybody has their own life, their own careers, their own goals, their own relationships. But a principle, and I'm gonna write this down because I need to make a episode just about that. But bro, principles don't change. principles do not change. And if we can learn more principles, share them with people, they can take it for themselves, apply it. They can take it. They can take it for themselves. They can apply it. They'll see change in their own personal life. Success is a journey. Success, it's journey. It's a process. Success, it's a journey. It's a process. It's time. It's investment. It's failure to learn from. Failure is not failure unless you can learn from it. And really, it's a marathon. This is not a race. This is not a sprint. It's not who gets there first. Someone else already beat you there. When you thought about being successful, when you thought about growing, when you thought about becoming better than what you're at now, which it can be, that can look totally different from person to person. It's a marathon. It looks different for everybody, but continue the race. Don't stop.
Don't
Stop.
never.
Stopping is where you fail.
Yeah.
That is true failure. It's not where you just didn't miss the
And
mark.
when you stagnate, eventually you start to slowly move backwards without even noticing.
Yes.
It's the worst thing about stopping.
It's a marathon, man, and enjoy it. Like, do not let the process rob you of the joy of your adventure. Like, this is an adventure, and understand that and be okay with it. That failure's there. You're gonna make mistakes, but dude, just learn from it. It's a learning progress. It's always a learning progress, no matter who you are, what you do, where you're at in life. Success is still in front of you. You got to take it, grab it, put in the work, put in the initiative, learn from your mistakes. It's a learning progress. And it's an amazing journey. If you make it one. I can't remember if this sounds terrible. I think I came up with this. I don't think I heard it from anybody. I hope so, because I'm going to feel really bad. But I remember writing it down. Sometimes I'll get thoughts and I'll write it down. But the person who enjoys traveling will go further in life than the person who enjoys the destination. If you enjoy Hawaii, that's awesome. But that's the only place you're ever going to go to. If you enjoy traveling on the airport, knowing how the route system works, how you have to hop from one plane to the other, the things that really are annoying, the things that are inconvenience, the things that we don't want to go through, right? We just want Hawaii. We just want the ocean. We just want all of those beautiful, amazing things that are there. But we are so opposed to luggage and packing and scheduling and airport and arrival and departure, and budgeting money for the food. All these things that kind of take the joy from our trip. Don't let it rob you. Make it the best you can. In that kind of an example, analogy, right? Bring your best headphones with noise cancellation. Bring a comfortable shirt and comfortable pants. Make that traveling the thing that really kind of stinks and the thing that kind of annoys you and kind of gets on your nerves. Make that as best as it absolutely can be.
Yeah.
And when you get... Go ahead. I've been waiting for that a long time. I've been praying for that a longer time. It's been a long time coming. Married June 14th. I'm going to be... it's really a transition year. This year's a big year for me as far as the company I work for. Taking over a lot more responsibilities with the pursuit of taking over the company in the next couple of years. So, filming a lot of weddings on my own as a lead shooter, editing them, pivoting into small business work.
When you said about taking over the company, if this was Kingdom speak,
Yeah.
I would have hit the little button that went.
Ain't no buttons on this podcast, bro. Just real nukes. You see it?
Japan, here we come. Okay,
Seems
but
small.
the company,
Yeah.
okay, marriage, yep.
Yeah, marriage, company, transitioning in roles and responsibilities on my company. and growing this podcast, if I can film a guest, if I can just have 12 guests in a year, start with that. That's one a month. If more, awesome. If it's only
If I have one a year, great.
If I have one, it's like, oh, we forgot to do our Peterson impression.
If we just,
Yeah.
if we
Say
if we
it.
have just one,
One.
was it not worth it?
Well, what's worth?
What is worth?
I don't know. I just know it's like, well, the other day, you came into my bedroom.
Beef and salt. That's my diet. Okay, we need to end this.
No, we gotta keep this bit going. Well,
Okay, talk to me nice, Peterson.
okay, well, Trump,
Try getting it out. Are you gonna say, if you want...
you're a buffoon.
Come on.
No, really, you're smart. But let me talk for a second.
Go ahead and talk.
Thanks.
The floor is yours.
Listen, you're pretty good looking in person.
I would argue to say the best looking, but that's Jesus Christ.
Amen. Well, okay, so it's like you came to my place, but at 2:30 in the morning. That's wrong, man. I was asleep. You woke me from my slumber. It's like, well,
Let's just say I had important business,
yeah,
and
sucking
in
your
reality,
thumbs.
You wanted to be awoken
You got
from your
little-
slumber.
I'm losing it.
Anyone would want me to.
You got small
anyone would
thumbs.
want me to awake him out of his
Small
slumber.
thumb, Trump, sucker. Anyways,
Don't make me whip.
I
again.
got the cocoa rums on the counter for you, and was like, here you go. I'm in my undies. It's 2:30 in the morning. I got work, but it's like
I
you
almost ran off the road 3 times.
And it's like,
and
well,
you simply don't.
it's like,
care.
okay, I've gotta
All you did
respect
was
that.
Cocoa Rose, and I get work.
Yeah.
But okay, I almost died a couple times.
A couple?
It's okay.
and that's to be fair, it's like I gotta be fair to you, but it's like it's been great. So the other day I was like playing Catan, and I've won like 3 times at this point. It's pretty good.
I would say that's doing fairly great.
Yeah, it's like, pat on my shoulder. I haven't won a whole lot, but man, I'm on a streak, Well, this guy proceeds to beat me. I could taunt, that is. I could take him in the
How
minutes.
bad did he beat you?
Well, it's like he was at 12 and I was at 10, so it was close.
It was close.
It's like, because I weep sometimes. Because, I'll win, and that's great.
Let me tell you, this last election was not even close, but this
That's
game,
rigged.
this
See,
game,
you know what it's like.
this game was close.
Right. No, it's like I was supposed to win. It's like everything was in my favor. You know what it's like, Trump, to lose. It was rigged, though. You were supposed to win, but I'll go home and I'll cry. Because it's like, wow, I lost.
He'll cry.
Yeah. But it's like, well, that's all right. I'll just come back and I'll beat him again.
Beat him.
Like, really bad. I'll be like,
He'll
whoa,
beat them really bad.
really bad.
Really bad.
Significantly. Because losing sucks. As we know.
It's quite terrible, but let me tell you, there's nothing as good as a comeback.
That's not insignificant. That's true. That's true.
And especially when we're talking about this great game of Catan.
Right? Yeah, no, it's great. It's really great. So, I'm coming for you. I'm going to win. It's like, watch out.
Watch out.
You're the problem. But I'm a bigger problem now. I'm looking at the wrong
Mr.
camera. I just
Peterson,
realized I need to look at that
AKA
camera.
Mr. On.
Yeah.
He's back in town.
And he's coming for you.
Right.
And you better watch out.
Hey, guns.
You better not cry. You better not pout.
Right. See, I'm not gonna let you get second place. Because the only way you win is if you believe in the Second Amendment. Peterson out.
He's coming for the win. Peace.